Hello, Pogo Tribe. Here are the top 5 reasons that Obama's re-election makes me smile. Number 5, Karl Rove's temper tantrum.
I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but we got to be careful about calling things when we have like 991 votes separating the two candidates and a quarter of the vote yet to count.
So we'll do a little interrogation and see if they stand by their call, notwithstanding the doubts that Karl Rove has attempted to place. Keep coming. Here we go. You tell me whether you stand by your call in Ohio, given the doubts Karl Rove just raised.
We're actually quite comfortable with the call in Ohio.
Ain't that rich? I've watched that at least a dozen times since election night. But Rove's temper tantrum is not just great entertainment. No, it's also indicative of a much larger moment of reckoning that's happening right now on all levels of the Republican Party. In recent years, the Republican Party has completely failed to rein in its crazy side. They've gone from being a rational voice arguing and compromising for limited government to a party of zealots totally unwilling to search for common ground with Democrats. Now, of course, it remains to be seen what their next move will be, but hopefully this decisive loss has shocked at least some of the craziness out of their system. Hopefully, Republicans are starting to realize that obstructionism, zealotry, bigotry are not effective 21st century political strategies. The number 4 reason Obama's victory makes me smile is a progressive Supreme Court. Maybe. Barack Obama will have the opportunity to nominate at least 1 and perhaps as many as 3 new justices to the Supreme Court over his second term. So the court, which currently leans a little bit to the right by the end of Obama's presidency, will lean a little less to the right and perhaps a little teensy bit to the left. Left-leaning Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who is 79 years old, has expressed interest in retiring soon, and so even though replacing her with another left-leaning justice wouldn't technically change the balance of power of the court, because justices serve life terms, replacing an old left-leaning justice with a young left-leaning justice still improves the long-term prospects for a more progressive court. And maybe, just maybe, a conservative justice or two, namely Scalia and Kennedy, will step down or get sick or something. I mean, you can't root for that. You can't root for a justice getting sick. That would be, kind of evil. But things do happen, and if things do happen, then for the first time in decades we would have a moderate or even perhaps left-leaning court, and the women's rights would be protected, a gay's right to marry would be protected. Maybe we could overturn that whole Citizens United thing. The number 3 reason that Barack Obama's victory makes me smile is that cynicism lost. Mitt Romney's presidential prospects were never based around widespread enthusiasm for a potential Romney presidency. They were always based around something to the effect of, Barack Obama is terrible. I mean, to this day, we still don't know what Mitt Romney would have done if he was elected president because he never told us, he never gave us any specifics. The main draw was just that he wasn't Barack Obama, that he had an R next to his name. Romney's strategy was to divide and conquer. He wanted to stir up as much rage as he could amongst his base so as to prevent any semblance of level-headed discourse, and then to blame that dysfunction that he and his party created on his opponent. I mean, essentially, he wanted to win by discouraging, depressing Democratic turnout and riling up Republicans, which is just a great recipe for an America ready to work together. And it's easy for me to smirk about it now, but had he won, that would have been a validation for a very cynical style of politics, and it would have been repeated. And I think that's dangerous.